What up, Kate? Atlanta A plus in the building. If you want your cars detailed inside and out, top to bottom, front to back, man, Atlanta A plus. Work is impeccable. Absolutely impeccable. One time when you came through, Kate, you did like 5 cars for me at the garage one day. What you came in, you did the Escalade, you did the Scat Pack, you did the Q7, you did the Audi RS5, and you did the dually in one fucking day, inside and out. Fucking unbelievable. And flawless. Every fucking vehicle. Flawless. Unbelievable. I've never seen that. I've had some motherfuckers do some work on a car, not on 5. And diligent. Bong, bong, bong. Knock that shit right out. Yo, Ty, where you at, Ty? I just told Ty I'm a little behind because I was on with Ronnie Bump. You know, we're closing in finished business, the Ronnie Bump book. So that's gonna be crazy. That is going to be crazy. So we've been on the phone with his old people, you know, a lot of the cats he ran with that are still alive, still around. And man, oh, Player Fly got you scheduled tomorrow morning. That's the stuff. That's what's up. Tell him I said, what up? Player Fly. That's what's up. Where the hell is Ty? Ty be getting he be getting flagged left and right. Left and right, man. I don't know what page they're gonna let him speak on. Let him go live on. Where you at, Ty? Sugar Plum 1217, thank you for tapping in. This is WePopNSon, and that is my son right there about to tap in. And if you're not following the WePopNSon page, please follow it so that they'll let you know when we are doing our thing, which we do every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8. What up, man?
Hey.
Welcome to the new calendar.
Hey, let me live.
You did? What's up with your brothers? You all right?
Yeah, he going. He headed up here to. Yeah.
See what they talking about?
Yeah. Headed up here to see what they talking about.
Did you see the joint that I did on Tuesday?
I didn't get to really watch it because the sound was messed up, and
You know
then
what happened with the sound thing?
yeah, I
My
figured it
headphones.
was on your headphones.
Yeah.
I started.
So I walked across to the other side and I happened to see them sitting on the counter and I could hear sound coming out of them. I was like, what the fuck is going on? You see K said, what up?
Yeah, I said, what up?
Indiana Artiste was popping. Thanks for joining me, WePopNSon. Byron Biz, what's going on, Byron? Welcome to the new calendar. So on that joint the other day, Tuesday, I talked about this an approach to what up, Weasel Holt. I talked about an approach, you know, for people who do the New Year's resolution thing, right? I'm not a New Year's resolution person. I never was. And it's not because I don't think that there are things that I could and should change in order for, you know, my experience to be more desirable or just, you know, more of what I want, I guess, whatever. Because my attitude has always been, for as long as I can remember from childhood, the moment at which I recognize that something should change is the moment I should change it. And I think I came upon that from being a little kid, being around people talking about their New Year's resolution, and being a little kid who was super duper pragmatic, and pragmatism is about using the the experience you actually have,
Yep.
right? The practical experience you actually have. And um, hey, what's going on, nephew? And using you know, using the things you've actually been through, the things you've actually, like, you hear things, you learn things or whatever, and from those things you hear and from the things that people try and teach you, you you ideally you want to assimilate that stuff. You want to say, okay, I got you, I hear you, I'm going to start doing that, I'm going to start moving like that, I'm going to start operating like that. But the things, not not many people can do that. Not many people will do that. In most cases, most people will only make changes based upon their own practical experience, things that they have had as a result of, or experienced as a result of, their own choices, right? And their own behaviors. That's pragmatism, to make choices and make changes based upon your own experience, right? Know better, do better kind of thing. I guess that's the simplistic explanation I can give of what that is. So I've always been that way since I was a kid, right? What's going on? It's over with 90s. What's happening? Thanks for joining WePopNSon. If you're not following the page, please do. So what I talked about on Tuesday was basically a system to try and be, more practical. You know, um, I think the most common things that people claim or express that they want to change when it comes to, the new year, whatever, um, is uh, dietary behavior, right? Um, uh, Exercise and education. Like, maybe I want to read more, I want to learn more, like that. I think those are probably, I think the gym shit is probably the highest shit. Like exercise is probably the highest one. All right.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you hear people say they're going to do differently in the new year, whatever, aside from, I'm going to make more money this year, whatever, because last year I didn't make enough money to support my bad spending habits. I want to make more money so I can support my bad spending habits, but I don't really realize that when I make more money, I'm just going to do more of what I previously did because I'm still operating on the same degree of understanding about how to behave with money. Aside from that, what are the other things you hear people say that they're going to change in the new year?
Uh, Shit, jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Their lifestyle. They're gonna start eating healthy and stuff. They're doing their fake vegan stuff. Um, Really, just the same thing. I'm gonna make better decisions with my spouse. Dude talk about he ain't gonna cheat. He already cheating.
It's on the second. It's the second. You already cheating?
Yeah, he already cheated. He already ain't shit. He got to start over again next year.
Oh
You know what
God,
I'm saying?
that's fucking horrible, bro. Now he may have a problem. Seriously, he may have a problem. That don't make no sense. He His problem may be that he doesn't like his wife. You might not like your wife, bro.
That's a thing that I don't think people recognize. Like all these niggas out here think they got erectile dysfunction. It's like cheat, nigga. If you cheat, and your dick work. It's not dysfunction. It's tough.
Yeah, it's your feelings towards her.
Yeah, it's your
It's your
feelings towards
appreciation
her.
of her, your attraction to her. You know what I mean? Just not, maybe you realize that you're not a good match for her. Maybe you realize that she deserves a better person than you are, and being around her uh, makes you feel inadequate and guilty.
I
So,
think these niggas be picking women and the things that they attracted to in that woman, everyone is attracted to. So after that superficial stuff fades away and you got the woman is 5-6 years, it's like, man, I done seen her fat ass so many times, like it don't even have the same effect. So you got to be attracted to more beyond just the, aesthetic.
That's a very powerful point, son. And they're attracted to the same things that everyone else is attracted to that doesn't have a relationship with her. So it's really all aesthetic, so it's just about her physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's I think there's a lot of guys who don't have the ability to connect with a woman on a level beyond that.
I,
They don't know how to make a choice beyond that.
I, I agree with that
What
because
up, Trey?
it'd be hard. I meet a woman and because I connect with her on the mental level and
Mm-hmm.
I'm stimulating her, she be so intrigued by that type of stimulation that she don't get from other relationships that it's like she always gonna come back to me. Cause it's like you feed me in ways where this man can have all the money in the world. It just don't suffice.
Yeah, I mean the idea. I was just talking to Ron, right? And he had a lady on the line who he was involved with, who was a money getting lady out of Philly. And the idea that all a man has to do is have money and he's everything a woman could possibly want. So all a man needs to do is focus on getting money, not on himself or developing his intellect so as to be able to actually, stimulate a woman's genuine interest in. I think that the prevalence of that idea, it wasn't as common, nowhere near as common in the days, because the lady is 70, Ron's 74. During their period, running around in their 30s and stuff like that, that idea wasn't as prominent. I think that had a lot to do with the fact that money was more plentiful, right? Money was more plentiful back then, so it wasn't that big a thing, like it's like, you're getting it, cool, if you're not getting it or getting as much or, getting a whole lot of it, then as long as you are a man, first and foremost, and, you're not, running around and behaving in a questionable manner. You're not, abusing women and children and being an ass to elderly people and shit like that. Like, you're a good charactered man. A good charactered man would get just as much regard and value as a man making large sums of money, as long as that man also had good character. You know what I mean?
Well, we fought from that
Or
time.
yeah, yeah,
We
yes, very
fought for,
much,
we fought
very
for
much.
that time and that mindset. We nothing close to that.
But yeah, but that's far beyond unfortunate,
Yes.
because if it continues to trend this way, like I noticed when I was about 14 or so, Lance's older brother Mike. No, I guess I was about 16. Lance's older brother Mike, he was, at like the height of his shit, right? And getting a lot of bread. Uncle B was paying him, like, he got paid once a month, got 40,000 every month, right? For whatever he did for the month. At the end of the month, he got one month pay, 40,000.
Mm.
Mike would be broke within 4 or 5 days, right? And I would be with him. I'd be hanging out with him, whatever. Mostly, you know, just to watch him, you know. that I was very protective of all of them, Bernard and all of them when I was younger. You know, I was very protective of them. And like I said, I was a very practical little kid. So when I saw things that were obvious to me because I didn't have whatever they had going on that led them into behaving in destructive ways, like, you know, abusing cocaine, abusing alcohol, you know, whatever the hell. Because I didn't have those experiences or circumstances that, you know, made me make those kinds of choices, whatever. All I saw was the choices and the behavior. And I'd be like, you know, you got to stop acting like that. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop being this way, whatever, because I didn't have any understanding of what was making them act that way, or, you know, what was the catalyst behind their behavior, what they had been through, what they were dealing with, whatever, right? I didn't know that, you know, they were dealing with the stress of whatever it is you deal with in the street, whatever, whatever. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know that they were concerned about getting killed or going to jail every fucking day, you know, because that wasn't a, an aspect of the reality that I was being brought up in. What up, JTXP? I didn't know that, you know, this detriment. I wasn't consciously aware of this detriment, you know, this constant detriment that, you know, created stress for them, and that this alcohol abuse, this liquor abuse, this self-abuse, you know, this abuse of these women in their lives. I didn't know that these were things that were coming out of their inadequate ways of managing the stress they were dealing with, right? And so I was being very pragmatic when I was saying, you just stop, like, when you drink or when you sip or whatever, you be acting crazy and you be doing detrimental shit, and you need to stop doing that, whatever, whatever. So I was very protective about them. You know, I was trying to big brother them, you know, and or be conscious. I was being their conscience. I was being their conscience. You know, I was being that part of their mind that goes, you know, you shouldn't do that. You know, this is bad, right? You know, this is a counterproductive thing you're doing, right? You know, you're gonna get fucked up behind this, right? You know, I was that, right? So when he Mike, when Mike would meet a girl, I started to notice this pattern. He would meet a girl, and it would be like, "Hey, girl, this is my wallet, and my name is Mike." He would introduce his money first. Then he would say, "My name is Mike. They call me MG Duck." You know what I mean? And as a young kid, I used to be like, how can you get mad on day 10 when you don't have any money and the girl is not responding to you and not, you know, not paging you or not coming to hang out with you? When you met her a few days ago, you had a pocket full of fucking money, and you were like, "Hey, what's up, girl? My name is Mike." You know what I mean? And, you know, what's up? We want to hang out. Want to go shopping? We buy you some jewelry, get some. And then, you know, 5-6 days later, you dead crack trying to borrow money from her. Like, and you mad because she not responding. You mad because she won't come fuck with you. And I'm watching this. I'm like, what did you expect? If that's the way you introduce yourself, you never showed value. You never showed no value. You basically said, I'm a walking wallet. And when the wallet is empty, I mean, what's the value? What's the value in it now? They got nothing in it. What's the value of it? You know? And I watched those behaviors, and I was like, practically, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not going to do that. These are the same, you know, individuals who I'd be around as a kid, and they would say, you know, yeah, my New Year's resolution is I'm gonna stop doing this, and I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna stop doing this, and it's like we might be in it might be fucking October, you know. You know what I mean? It might be October. It's like, well, if you are saying that you are going to stop tricking, stop, you know, blowing your bread, stop sniffing, stop, you know, trying to drink up all of France, because you want to drink all the cognac and all the champagne in the building, in every building you go into. If you're saying that now, that means now, in this moment, you're recognizing the detriment of the behavior. Well, you have to wait until the calendar changes to change that. It didn't make sense to me. As a practical kid, it didn't make sense to me. If you recognize that the behavior is destructive or counterproductive now, why don't you stop it now? What are you waiting for? And it took me a while, a long while, but I got to a point where I recognized it's it's because you're only sorry about the counterproductive things, that the things you're saying you're going to change when the calendar changes. You're only interested in changing it or entertaining the idea of changing it because you're in the aftermath of the negativity of it. It's like a person, you know, running around, breaking in people's houses and stealing everything they can steal, and then when they get caught and they're sitting in handcuffs, or somebody got a gun to their head about to blow their brains out, then they go, how much they regret what they were doing. You're only saying that because you're in the throes of the negativity of it. You're caught up in the downside. That's what you're saying. You're not really sorry. You don't really regret it. You don't really see the bad side or the negative side of what you're doing. Black Beauty 183 was
You're
good.
saying it because you confronted with the reality of your decision.
That's it.
And if that reality wasn't in your face, like slapping you in the face, you'd be like, shit, that don't really matter.
That's
They don't
right.
even know it's slapping me.
Right. That mentality it used to be more of a peripheral mentality in my perspective. I speak from the perspective of the life I've lived, the world I've existed in, and what I've observed in that world, experienced in that world. In the world that I come from, that I perceive through my experiences, that was more of a peripheral kind of thing. It wasn't a whole lot of motherfuckers that was, you know, as impractical as that. Where it's like I only regret it because I'm dealing with the negative parts of it. I only regret going out and gambling like a fool, because I lost and I don't have any money left. That's the only reason I regret it. That's the only reason I'm saying I'm gonna stop gambling. I'm gonna stop gambling. I'm saying I'm gonna stop gambling because I don't have any money. Well, I mean, you don't have any money, so you can't gamble. So it's not like you come to some conclusion, through some process that reason has led you to. Like, you just saying that because you fucked up, and that mentality has become so common. It's become so just normal that to not be like that is strange to people. I grew up, came into adulthood, being considered to be very strange to the people around and in my environment. I was very strange to them because I wasn't, bouncing off of everything around me. I was choosing my own path, doing what I did, what other people did, but doing it my way, and not caring about how popular the way that other people were doing what they were doing was. I didn't give a damn. I'm doing it the way I deem best because I have more of a, I don't know what you're talking about, Kay. I've been sitting here trying to remember one. I don't know what you're talking about. Tell me what you're talking about. I have more of an of a goal than just to win today. I have a goal to win ultimately, which means I can't just make decisions based upon what it is I want right in this moment. I have to make decisions based upon not only what I want in this moment, but what I ultimately want. I have to take into consideration both of those things. So I have to come up with ideas that will remedy my dilemma now and not create a greater dilemma later. That's how I operated. It made me very strange, weird and shit, coming up. But it also made me the last laugher, you know. From this nigga, yo, look at this nigga, he walking around and polished up Tim's and with his back straight and and talking like he got an education and whatever. Last laugh, motherfucker. Here I am, and where are y'all? Just coming home from prison, rotting away in the ground, walking around in the street, don't know your head from your ass because you followed everybody else's path and never determined your own path. That mindset has become the mainstream mindset. I don't know, herd mentality, like
Yes.
herd
Yes.
mentality has become like the main mentality. And I guess human beings have always kind of been herdish, but I don't know. It's just wildly impractical, man. Popular ideas, popular ideas that people follow are wildly impractical, bro. You
Be a
don't
rapper.
shit.
Like niggas still trying to be a rapper. I just was arguing with this dude. Well, it was a post. There was a post about a rapper. He's a basketball player, and he released a song. And I'm like, he dude dressed like a blood. He from Cali. He rapping like he from New Orleans. And the song wasn't good. The song wasn't good. I'm like, no, this song is trash. They like, yo, he rich and he got money. You hate it. I'm like, him being rich don't have nothing to do with the song not being good. The song could not be good and he could be rich. But just because he got money and he could pay for the studio time, don't mean he should. The nigga been a rich kid his whole life, played basketball his whole life, and now he dropping music. Not everybody should drop music. He should just, if he got money, he could just invest in somebody and create a label and promote their music because that's what they've been trying to do all their life. But him just jumping at it this day is like, if he hits and he get a song that's good, it still won't matter because an artist could a person could come up with one song, but if you're not in it, that's going to be the last time we hear about you. And there's a bunch of people that come up with one song because they can catch the attention of people, and then we never hear from them again. And then they doing something else because that's never what they wanted to do.
It's a fact. Um, in the post that I did on Tuesday, I suggested a way that people who subscribe to the idea of doing resolutions for the new year, which I also explained the new year doesn't actually start until March, but I suggested to do something simple, and you don't have to wait until the new year to do it, or whatever. You don't have to wait until the calendar changes to do it. It's a practice that you can use anytime and whenever you get ready, right? And it was simple as this. Like I told them, the mirror in your bathroom, right? That most people, the first thing they do is they get up and they go to the bathroom. They wake up, and invariably you pass that mirror and you look at yourself, you know. Put on the mirror, right? One thing that you want to remove, you want to stop doing, and one thing you want to start doing. And every day when you get up, you look in that mirror, and it's today. I'm not going to do this today. I said it's a commitment for the next 24 hours. I'm not going to do that. Whether it's not eat pork, not smoke, not drink, not cheat on my wife or husband or whatever, whoever you are. And I'm gonna read a few pages a day. I'm gonna watch a few minutes of of a documentary about something that I've always had a peripheral interest in. You know, I always said, I want to learn more about that. With that, I'm going to dedicate 20, 30 minutes of that to that today. You know what I mean? Um, you said all my favorites. Black Beauty said all my favorites. So you like eating pork, smoking weed, and drinking, and cheating on your spouse. you you need I don't know what you need something else. So, I mean, unless it's working for you, you know what I mean. There was a time when smoking, drinking, and not cheating, but you know, because cheating is lying and sneaking. I never did that. Whatever women I dealt with, they learned two things immediately: my name and the fact that I have women. Immediately, before anything. Hey, my name is Cavario. I have a woman. I have several. I enjoy the company of beautiful women. If you got a problem with that, that's cool. No harm, no foul. And 99.999% of the fucking time, they was like, hey, it's all good. Because they had one of two ideas. They looked at the Rolex on my wrist, they looked at the diamonds in my ears, and they said, I'm going to change you. I'm going to do so much shit that you're going to be like, I don't want nobody else but you. That's, this ego of a young girl. They know better. And the other was that it wasn't it wasn't that I needed the company of other women. It's just I hadn't found the right woman, and also pretty ego-based, naive idea. You know what I mean? Because I mean, um, sure, I met the right woman. She's the woman that I'm with. Like she's the one in the number one position. That's the right woman for who I am right now. The right woman at that time was the woman who would tolerate all of my behavior and give me the least amount of trouble or resistance or pushback or complain or whatever have you. You know what I mean? And acquiesce to my request. And I didn't request a lot. Just, help me when you can and stay out of my way. I wasn't saying, hey, I want to bring another girl in the bed and all kind of weirdo shit. I'm not into weirdo shit. It's not me. And the your generation is very much into that. Y'all have lost your moral way. But I'm not into that. I'm not into that. But they ain't nothing new because the stories that Ronnie Bump has told me, man, I'm like, bro, what in the entire was wrong with you, bro? Like, Ronnie Bump was a trip and a half, my God. Like, for real, bro. Like that mother, that's another story. But making changes, it's nothing to do with calendars or dates. It has to do with a person coming to a point where they've lost enough being the way they are, or they feel as though they've lost enough being the way they are, and then finding some way to change that loss or the destructive or undermining impact of a way of behavior or whatever. I feel, just because I talk to so many people, I engage so many people, I feel that we've gotten to a point where people they don't have a beginning of how to start to actually make changes in their own behavior. My friends have always said that I have this discipline where I can just stop doing something like that, and I can. And the reason is because I've seen from being around, all of them, Mike and Bernard and Steve and everybody. I've seen so much of what happens when you're unable to manage yourself, when you're unable to control yourself, restrain yourself, exercise moderation. DeVixen, welcome to 2025. DeVixen, what's happening, sister? I don't know if you caught the last live from Tuesday, but I'm talking about that system that I offered in that post where I talk about putting little sticky notes on your mirrors and basically saying, boom, this is something I won't do today, and this is something I will do today. And the whole point of that today thing is, it's like when people, I know this is not that common a phrase or term, in the melanated community. It's more so like a mainstream kind of thing, but there's an old saying that goes, how do you eat an elephant? You familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you eat an elephant?
One part at a time.
One bite at a time, right? So imagine that the elephant is your challenge, your thing that you pointed out, that you say, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to change. Your change, your desired change. That's the elephant, your desired change. And you say, for this next 365 days, forget the last 3,650 days, last 10 years that I've been doing this. Forget about that. I'm going to click a switch, and now I'm going to not participate in, have the thoughts that lead to the actions that result in the condition that I want to change. I'm not going to have those. After 10 years minimal of having them, I'm not going to have that anymore. You're not a computer, mother. You cannot delete the program. Okay? So for you to try and approach a change in some behavior or attitude or practice that you've built up the thinking, the processing on or around for a decade or more, is not realistic. That's like trying to eat come tomorrow. Today is December 31st. Come tomorrow, I'm going to swallow the whole elephant. That ain't going to happen. That's why so many people fall short. I guarantee you the gym was packed in most cities yesterday. And it's going to be a little less packed a week from now. A month from now, it'll be back down to like the 25, 30% that it is all throughout the year, right?
Yep.
And it's because of that. It's because people do not know how to, one bite at a time, their change. So what I offered on Tuesday is a process by which you can, one bite at a time, the change you want to make. Commit to 24 hours at a time. Before you know it, you'll add up to 365 of them, and you will have actually changed. I said you can put them up on the mirror, and you can say, today, January 1st, I'm not going to do this today, and I'm going to do this today. And that's the whole month of January. That's what you want. You can, if you do it for the whole month of January, by the time you get to the end of the month, if these things that you've determined you need to stop doing and start doing in order for you to start having more of the experience you want to have and being more the person you want to be, if those things are in fact the things that will impact that condition, by the end of the month, you will know it. You will know if you feel differently, if you are actually behaving differently. You'll know it. And if you realize that this is actually effective, these choices, these things you've selected to remove and add, if you've having the experience you want to have or you anticipate you have, then that becomes a part of you. Come, February 1st, you can take those down because you don't need to remind yourself. You've now incorporated these practices into your way. All right. So now you can put up something else for the next, few weeks and say, all right, today I'm not going to do this. So if you started out on January 1st saying I'm not going to smoke anymore and I'm going to read for 20 minutes. So for whole month of January you haven't smoked and you've been reading. You've been being impacted by those changes. They are now part of what you do. Now you pick two other things and you add or subtract those two other things. So you don't smoke anymore and you read regularly now. Now I'm not going to drink anymore and I'm going to meditate every day before I go to sleep. And you do that for the next few weeks. So now you get up every day and you don't smoke and you don't drink, but you do give 20, 30 minutes to reading and you do meditate before you go to bed. And by the time you do that through the course of a year, of a 12-month cycle, you have removed 12 counterproductive things from your life, and you've incorporated 12 productive things in your life. That is change. Trey Oxon said, writing these goals down in a journal really helped me as far as meal prepping. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's one of the things that I'm talking about, journaling, not meal prepping. Journaling. Journaling is one of the practices that I incorporated during the period that I was going through my transition out of street mentality, into, normalcy or mainstream mentality. And because I was so deeply ensconced in the criminal underworld, like literally being born into it, I didn't know anything about normalcy. I didn't know anything about being a normal person. I knew how to pretend to be one for a few minutes at a time. I knew how to go to some fancy restaurant somewhere. I ate at every fancy restaurant on a regular basis in New York. Every one. Russian. I went to Petrosian. I went to what was the brasserie on Park Avenue? You name it, right? And when I was in those places, I wasn't acting it like an underworld person. I was acting like a regular person. I didn't want them to look at me and say, "Oh, he must be a young drug dealer." I wanted them to look at me and just see a normal person with, you know, exceptional talent. You know what I mean? Because I was the only young black dude in there, in any of these places. I was the only young black dude in there, except for whatever young black dudes I would bring to try and expose to these experiences. Those moments, whether I was in some Italian emporium, or some boutique somewhere, or at some play, I went to plays, I went to brunches and all type of shit because I wanted to experience what normal people experience, as far as I could tell. Unlike a person who comes from the low end of the socioeconomic scale, like somebody from the hood who comes from regular people, like most people from the hood do, when they are when they're moving around in the street and they get a couple of dollars, wherever they go, they try to pronounce their street You know, they try to make it, very clear that they're a street person. You know, they're loud, they're boisterous, they are obnoxious, very, very self-important. They walk into a restaurant and there are people from all over, these types of restaurants and spots and, places that I was going. There's people from all over the world who had massive wealth, and, and they didn't wear, a lot of them didn't wear fancy clothes or fancy watches or none of that type of shit. But some cat from the hood who happens into one of these places would come in and it's, yeah, so what I'm saying, what's that right there? How much is that right there? Yeah, I want that, and it's, it's all of this clowny street nigga bravado behavior. You know what I mean? And I didn't want any of that. I didn't. When you're born into it, it ain't that. When you're just born around it, all you can see is that because you don't know what you're looking at. You're just a poor person from the hood. So you see somebody coming through in a nice car or nice clothes and shit like that. When I say nice clothes, I'm not talking about this this Balenciaga bullshit that these people be wearing. I'm talking about the highest quality fabrics. I'm talking about the highest quality cashmeres and linens and silks and wools and cottons, put together with the greatest degree of skill and craftsmanship,
Egyptian cotton.
Huh?
That Egyptian cotton.
That's right. And so when people in the hood see people come through like that, as they did back then, not so much now. Now a nigga can have all the money in the world, but he's just a poor kid from the hood with money. He doesn't have the cultivation. I was raised by style-wise players. When I say style-wise, I mean they knew what style was. They were wise to style. They were wise to cut and sew and fabric and all that kind of stuff. They knew why, and they taught me why you pay an exorbitant amount of money for an item. Not just because it's got some gay European guy's name on it. Right? Today, in the last, I don't know, probably 30 years now, a person who is from the hood, who, gets some reasonable degree of excess in terms of money, they don't have a clue about why you buy what you buy and, what a quality thing feels like. These guys will have hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million, and they'll go and buy a fur coat off a rack because nobody taught them any better. And they'll determine whether that fur coat is worth, is a good fur coat based upon how much money they get in their pockets picked for. Because they weren't around anybody who could tell them that right there is pieces of fur that were left over when a really good fur coat was made. These are all the pieces that fell on the floor, right? The ones that Cavario bought, these are the pieces left over, and they sewed them together, and then they put a exorbitant price on them for people like you who want to say, I paid $2,500 for this jacket, but you don't know why. Other than that's what they charge you, you don't know why. And you don't know that when somebody who actually is a style-wise player, who really understands what's what and understands what black llama is and understands that mink is not another name for fur. Like so many cats I knew that were starting to buy fur coats in the latter part of the 80s going into the 90s as crack became very prevalent and everybody can get a couple of dollars. They would be like, yo, check out my fur, Cavario. And I'd be like, that's nice. You know what I mean? But if I pay $2,500, I'll be like, why? Like you could pick that up off the floor in my furrier's place. You can pick that up off the floor. Those are pieces. You just got charged $2,500 for scraps, but
It's like
it
how they pick
didn't.
jewelry. They pick the popular jewelry person that all the rappers go to. It's like, bro, he sells shitty jewelry.
Yeah, that's how people got on to Jacob. People got onto Jacob. Jacob was known as a thief in the 80s. He was known as a thief and a crook in the 80s. You know how people started getting on to Jacob? How
How?
how Biggie, a poor kid, a ignorant poor kid who come from a square family who happened to live in a low income, working class neighborhood, and got his hands Puff didn't give nobody no bunch of money, right? Like I think Puff gave Biggie $200,000 for his publishing and called him his friend and stole from his children, right? And Biggie went and got jewelry from Jacob, and then he went and rapped about it, and that's where a bunch of cats got the idea of buying jewelry from Jacob from. So it came from. And the more of these young street entrepreneurs who went and bought jewelry from him, the more validated he was, because this rapper's buying from him, and that rapper's buying from him, and this rapper's buying from him. So it's like, that's validation.
That was the thing. You go in there, you see the picture of the rapper with the jewelry on, and
You
he's
remember?
standing there shaking his hand.
You remember? I still keep it with me. For people to know, I did not buy no jewelry from Jacob. I bought my jewelry from Tito. You know. Okay. But Jacob, I'm the one that did Jacob's first ever ad. The first ad Jacob and Company ever had anywhere was in Don Diva magazine, and I made it myself. Right? That's how far back I
You
go
took
with
the
Jacob.
picture with the lens, that new lens that you just
Yep.
got, and it was on the watch.
Yep. That's right. That's a fact. So, not to get too far off of the point. When people begin to incorporate changes into their lives, and those changes are not informed, it's not effective. When I say informed, it's like the idea to make the change is not based in anything that's it's like reality, right? It's not based in anything real or true. It's just really some random shit that just came up within their mind and said, yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to do that. But it's like, why do you need to do that? I have no idea. It's just, I like the idea of having to do that, and what will result from me doing that if I do it, if I make the change, And of course, if it's not solid, then it won't stick, which is the point of what I'm talking about in terms of like determining what you think you need to stop. There's some stuff that people do that they go like, obviously, it ain't gonna hurt me if I stop smoking fucking weed. It's not gonna hurt me if I stop drinking alcohol, and it isn't helping me that I do, right? So if I want to clear my mind and really, really maximize my mind and body's opportunity to uh, produce the best outcome for me, then the idea of removing these things from my practices is probably pretty good idea, And, I mean, I could always smoke or drink here and there again, but for the next, you know, several weeks, a day at a time, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink, for tomorrow, and then again the next day, and then again the next day, and then again the next day. And, it may or may not make a considerable difference in how they think or feel or operate, but they won't know until they do it, whether it will or not. As well as the adding things, of course, adding things that expose you to more information, that's not, in most instances, not going to be counterproductive. I have to say in most instances, because I did have an instance where I exposed a brother to some information. I gave him the book, the David Icke book, The Biggest Secret. And I didn't realize his mental state. I didn't realize that, he was probably, I don't know. He had a mental condition. I don't know. I don't want to categorize it, but he had a mental condition. And he's kind of prone to paranoia. He's from my man H. He's from Baltimore. He's from the east side.
H.
Huh?
H.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could.
You remember? So
That makes sense.
I
Because
gave him.
he was on another planet from after
No,
that. He
no,
was on another planet. He was locked in
bro,
that book.
bro. I couldn't believe. I was like, oh fuck! It never occurred to me that giving somebody information would have an adverse effect on them. It didn't occur to me because it hadn't had an adverse effect on me. It does impose another degree of responsibility on you. Once you become aware of something, like a person who smokes cigarettes, and they start smoking cigarettes when they're 8, 9, 10 years old, and they get whatever they get out of it. As a little kid, you get the dizzy, you think you high, and all that, the giggle, and all that, whatever. And before you know it, you've got a habit, and you don't even know you got a habit. You just know that you have something that draws you to doing this, and nothing's fallen off of you so far, so you don't think there's any detriment to it, and you keep doing it. And then one day you find out, oh shit, this should have given me cancer, but you've developed a habit at this point. The fact that you are now burdened with the information that will give you cancer diminishes your ability to enjoy it a bit, because now you know something bad about it you didn't know before. It's not as easy to enjoy anymore. So you get that initial satisfaction from doing it, but after you do it, you feel guilty that you did it. Before you knew that, you didn't feel guilty, right? So sometimes a person is given information that maybe they're not ready for or they can't handle, it could have adverse effect on them, right? Like a nigga think King Dingaling and find out this woman is cheating on him with a midget. He's like, he snaps, he's like, I'm saying I'm King Dingaling, you know what I mean? It's like he snapped. He couldn't handle the information. He was fine as long as he didn't know it. When he finds out, he bug out. So I gave dude that book, and he bugged out. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I was like, bro, do you see the history? You see how far back this history goes? This isn't a reality that just came about the moment you became aware of it. This has been the case forever. Like, this has been the case. You're just becoming aware of it. You know what I mean? So there's no need to, suddenly be like, oh, I got to do something. It's like, you know what you got to do? You got to become aware of these things and start making choices that take into consideration these things that you didn't know before. Operating with your eyes more open. That's what the information is about. But it made him completely paranoid. It didn't make him paranoid. It piqued his natural paranoia and suspicion, and this motherfucker don't want to use phones. He want to use Morse code and smoke signals now because they're watching and listening and all that, whatever. You know what I mean? So sometimes information for some people they can't deal with, but generally though, exposing yourself to information, and making the thing you add to your new you, it's like a good thing. You know what I mean? It's generally a good thing. But they're about to cut us off in like 20 seconds.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm gonna jump back on. I kind of want to finish something, so I'm gonna jump back on. Shut down for a second. All right.